Well, the Eagles got a bit of a scare around Landon Dickerson, with a Pro Bowler surprisingly popping up on the injury report with a back injury. In this video, I'll get you caught up on the latest there, share what the odds are of him playing, plus look into who might be giving it a go at safety. Also, it turns out Dallas may not be without a key starter at cornerback after all. Along with another starter back at the O-line, the question is, will it even matter for Thursday's matchup? So let's talk about it. But first, let's run it. What's up, guys? You realize this past Sunday was the last one without NFL games until 2026? Yeah, pretty crazy, but better yet, the last weekend also until this banner becomes officially official, as if it wasn't already, for the Dallas Cowboys being eliminated from the playoffs.
Two things we already knew.
Like I said, kind of a given. Although speaking of banners, I don't know how it doesn't get you even more hyped to see the Birds unveiling the Super Bowl banner on Thursday night in the pregame ceremony. Granted, I suppose that Cam Jurgens had a point that it's Dallas week after all, so it's not like we needed a whole lot of extra motivation to get up for the game.
I mean, still, who gives a damn if we're hanging something or whatever? We're playing the Cowboys, you know. What other multiple motivations do we need, you know? I think everybody's going to be pretty fired up.
Yeah, so the general consensus around the entire team is that everybody's fired up, locked in, going to be good to go for Thursday. A mixture, some guys a big deal about the Super Bowl banner, some not so much. Either way, it's Dallas week, so really not a big deal. There was a little bit of some interesting news that we got around Landon Dickerson, which I will get into here in just a second. In the meantime, though, Eagles tackle Jordan Mailata was one of those saying he'll be so locked in that he might not watch the Super Bowl banner ceremony at all. And believe it or not, but Nick Sirianni actually confirmed that plan, saying none of the team will be out to witness the banner being dropped, citing the importance of flushing last season from the team's minds.
And the answer you're looking for lies right here.
Look, personally, I'm all for it. But when it comes to the idea of not having to put up with Micah Parsons, though, Jordan Mailata didn't mind offering his thoughts.
Sigh of relief.
That was funny.
Thank you for laughing. I appreciate that. I say that as a joke, but at the same time, man, like it's just kind of crazy. You know, you build up for the last 4 or 5 years that we've played the Dallas Cowboys. We've come up with a game plan because Mike is a game wrecker. So it is a sigh of relief that you don't have to plan like that anymore. However, that is a talented D-line and talented defense, and so you got to treat them with the same respect, with or without, Micah Parsons. They got Kenny Clark now, who's not notified. What's the word? I can't even think of the word right now. Not that I lost train of thought. I just forgot what the word is. But he's been in the league a long time. He's a great. I was going to swear. He's a great bloody player. And so now we got to figure out how he affects our game plan and how we can control that.
It is funny because I saw several comments wondering or questioning why would Jordan Mailata say that, or why would he admit that he's relieved to play Micah Parsons. I mean, after all, Philly shut down Dallas every time, and Micah Parsons didn't do too much against Philly. Except when you break down the numbers, that's not entirely true. Okay, look, yes, when it comes to Lane Johnson, Micah didn't stand a chance and never did. But against anyone else, Parsons actually registered 5 sacks in 7 games against the Eagles, which for those counting is the third most against any opponent. Plus, Micah also tacked on another 29 tackles and 8 quarterback hits in those 7 games as well. Having said that, though, please hear me that it's also not like having Micah would have saved the Cowboys from what's about to happen this season, which is why ESPN's Mike Clay went about as far to say Dallas sucks, considering they allowed the second most points last season, and that was with Micah Parsons for 13 games. However, we subtract Parsons now. The losses also of linebackers Eric Kendricks, nickel corner Jordan Lewis, and edge rusher Chauncey Golston, along with a couple uncertain injuries entering 2025. And this is without a doubt the shakiest defense in the league. Now, the amazing part to all of this is that Jerry Jones did it to himself.
I almost feel sorry for the little fella.
I want our fans to know that I can manage really good. I do real well managing.
Never change, Jerry, because Dallas sucks and won't ever get past that as long as you're at the helm. By the way, I mentioned on the last video, if we got over 3,000 likes, that I'd give away any jersey of your choice, and we absolutely crushed that number, so listen up. All you got to do to be entered into the giveaway is make sure you're subscribed to the channel and then go down to the comments section and type in Dallas sucks, and that will enter you for the chance to win any jersey of your choice. Again, it's totally your call on which jersey you want, but honestly, I don't know why you wouldn't go with a 2K Say jersey. After all, the dude was just voted as the #1 best player in the NFL by his peers in the NFL Top 100. Adding that now to his other list of accolades, such as Offensive Player of the Year last year, most rushing yards in an NFL season ever, including playoffs with 2,504 yards, 15 regular season touchdowns, 5 postseason touchdowns, and most importantly, a Super Bowl champion.
I'm going to have a tough time sleeping if Saquon goes to Philadelphia, I'll tell you that. As I've told you, just being honest. I've been around enough players, so but he's the most popular player we have by far.
Okay, so my first inclination every single time that I talk about Saquon Barkley, another accolade, is to say thank you, Giants. But then also, I got to give huge props to Nick Sirianni. Because not only did he and Jalen Hurts admit their relationship has grown so much closer this past offseason, but the messaging around all the guys is being led by the head coach.
Continue to focus on the thing that matters most, and that's winning football games. He said something, in the beginning of offseason. If you think you're the reason why we won the Super Bowl last year, you're exactly right. If you think you're the only reason why we won the Super Bowl last year, you're exactly wrong. It's going to take all of us. And, I love that with all the stars and, playmakers we have and legends and Lane, Hall of Famer, we do a really good job of buying into the message that coach wants. And it's sent from him, then it's passed on to the leaders and the captains, and then we make sure that gets on throughout the locker room. So that's a mindset that we're going to continue to have as a team and just focus on the thing that matters most, and that's winning football games and it don't matter how it looks.
When you said Nick, it made me really, the thing that he's been preaching a lot is contribution over credit, and the old sense of, it doesn't really matter how it gets done, just a matter of getting it done, as a team and really buying into that collective. And so I think he's had a habit of saying that. He's had a habit of saying that to try and go to that next level, it requires something more of yourself. And so I think he's done a really good job from a message standpoint. And as a team, we just have to continue to, kind of be all in on that.
First off, how does that not get you fired up? And secondly, it's the uncommon selflessness of the guys, the best players on the team. You think about the best players on the team, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, you just go down the line. All those players, selflessness, doing whatever it takes to win, it's what makes them different. And yeah, remember, you can't be great without the greatness of others. Yet it's amazing how many people want to bring up stupid stats like the fact that Drew Lock had 3 more passing touchdown games than Jalen Hurts did last season. Yet I'm sorry, who was it that won the Super Bowl again? Like, come on, to have a quarterback that's as team-oriented as QB1 and willing to do whatever it takes to win is priceless. And personally, I say let the haters keep firing shots at Hurts.
I can't control what these people think, but if it takes all the hate and all the scrutiny and all the different opinions for me to be a world champion, then keep it coming.
Okay, also on the topic of winning, I don't know if you realize this or not, but the Eagles have an opportunity to do something for the first time in 93 years. So check it. The Birds have been around since 1933, but after a shaky start, their franchise record has never been above 500. In fact, the last time they were above the number was just 7 games into their inaugural season. And believe it or not, Philly's record at one point fell all the way down to 97 games under 500 by 1987. Yet somewhat amazingly, they've gone from that point to just 1 game under 500 in 37 years, thanks to 25 of those last 37 years featuring a winning record. Therefore, getting to where we are today, that means with a win against the Cowboys on Thursday at the Link, they won't have a losing franchise record for the first time since December 1933. Again, pretty confident on that one already. However, if there's one area that could make things a little interesting, it's what's going on with the injury situation. But before we get there, I got to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Rocket Money. I mean, look, with all the giveaways of tickets, memorabilia, jerseys, and everything else, I need just about as much help as I can budgeting and saving money. Which is why with studies showing that over 30% of people won't have enough to retire, it got me thinking. I mean, unfortunately, not everyone can be Howie Roseman when it comes to balancing a budget, which is why I've been using Rocket Money for quite a while now. Look, Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you cancel your subscriptions, lower bills, and really just manage your money better. And you guys have heard me talk about it, but my favorite part is the canceling subscriptions because Rocket Money safely and securely identifies recurring charges and cancels unwanted subscriptions for you. The best part is I can cancel that within just a few taps on the app. Yeah, no need to worry about customer service calls or that incredibly hard to find cancellation link. Rocket Money has helped save members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. And they've also helped customers save over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. So there you go. They're saving you time and money. So if you want to be a part of that, then all you got to do is go ahead and scan the QR code, the top right there, or just click the link down in the description. I'm telling you, another one of these that is a game changer for us. You got to give it a try. All right, so I mentioned some uncertainties with the injury situation, so let's get into that. You'll notice that Monday's report had Landon Dickerson and Tanner McKee as DNPs, along with Andrew Mukuba and Josh Uche limited, while Jalen Carter was a full participant with his shoulder. Don't worry, we'll break it all down along with the final injury report ahead of Thursday's game here in a second. But the most noteworthy aspect of Monday's report was seeing Landon Dickerson not at practice due to a back injury instead of his knee injury. Which on one hand, sure, maybe that's a positive sign for how the rehab is going for the knee, but I definitely don't like seeing a back injury pop up so close to the game. And even more so on that point, when you take into account that as bad as Dallas's defense is, they did improve the interior of the D-line in Kenny Clark, plus the 3-time Pro Bowler doesn't have any film for how the Cowboys plan to use him, it could possibly present a bit of an unexpected look in the game.
Good player. He's been in the league for a long time, so I got to play him a couple times last year, so I think that's, bodes well. I'm excited to see him in there. A different guy in the middle. He's a good player.
What sort of problems did he present in those last year with the 2 times you played?
Just good player. Does a lot of good stuff for him. So it's just trying to figure out how he fits in with that scheme. Is figure out what their scheme is going to be.
Look, even if Landon doesn't play, I still say this, I think most of us are in the same boat. Philly has just way too much firepower for Dallas to do anything. Of course, seeing Howie Roseman sign guard Kenyon Green back to the active roster, along with wide receiver Terrace Marshall to the practice squad, it's fair to speculate that perhaps there's more than meets the eye here. Heck, the backup that Jeff Stoutland had in there with the ones to fill in was Brett Toth.
That scares me.
I get it. I'm right there with you. The good news, though, is that the Inquirer's Jeff McClain shared even with 69 not practicing, it doesn't mean he won't play on Thursday night. In fact, from Jeff's understanding, it sounds like there's a greater chance Landon plays than not against Dallas. Also, more on that optimism, but Landon was back at practice on Tuesday, so it's headed in the right direction. I don't know if Landon was overcompensating due to the knee injury or it's something different entirely, but come on, did anyone actually think a bad back was going to keep Landon out? Plus, continuing on that upward trend, not seeing A.J. Brown on the injury report at all for his hamstring injury is lit. But as for the defense, rookie Drew Mukuba is still questionable since he's been limited and coming back from his hamstring injury. However, Fangio did say recently that Mukuba looks healthy and has done really well this summer, while at the same time admitting the 2 weeks of injuries were setbacks for the rookie. But the DC gave about as high praise as you could given the situation, saying Mukuba is ahead of where Cooper DeJean was at this time last year. Now, I don't have to tell you, obviously that's incredibly high praise. At the same time, it wasn't until, week 5 or after week 5, the bye week, whenever Cooper DeJean took the starting job and ran away with it, so it's not to say that Mukuba is a guarantee to play or to start on Thursday night. Although, the 22-year-old did say that he personally feels ready to go, and has been putting in extra hours, extra time, and basically anything else he can outside of practice so that he's ready to play. Oh, he also mentioned Reed Blankenship specifically as someone who's been a mentor to him to share all the tips and tricks to get him caught up to speed as quickly as possible. Again, I've said this on multiple live streams, on multiple videos. I would love to see Mukuba out there, but it does feel like Sidney Brown's probably going to get the first knock at it. Also, not sure if we'll end up seeing Marcus Epps get elevated from the practice squad as a depth piece, but it was cool to hear what motivated the Birds to bring Epps back.
He is a really sharp guy. I've always thought that of Marcus, and so he'll do everything he can do. And we got great coaches with Christian Parker, Joe Casper to help them get caught up, to help Marcus get caught up. And so, yeah, we'll see where he is, by the time we get here to this game and, whatever moving forward. But one thing, when we were talking about bringing Marcus back, Reed Blankenship would talk to us about, how much he thought, how much Marcus helped him, Reed, develop as a player and help learn the scheme. So he's really sharp and he's got great leadership qualities. And, it's awesome that's the memory that Reed has of Marcus, that he kind of introduced him into this thing while Reed was a rookie. Marcus was in his 4th or 5th year, whatever it may have been. And he helped him grow. And so now, with Marcus being here, you get him caught up to speed as quick as we can. And then he can help, Sidney and Andrew.
I got to say, that's pretty cool. Hearing the type of weight that Reed has within the organization, again, I know we're still waiting on the extension to come, which is going to happen, by the way. We shared that on the last video. But Reed Blankenship will get extended. You just can't deny that, though. That type of story within the organization, helping out Mukuba. He's a captain on the defense. There is an extension coming. They're not missing out on one of the exciting whites. Like I say, he's a captain on Vic Fangio's defense. Granted, a defense that sounds very much like one that will start Adoree Jackson at the other cornerback spot opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. Okay, fact-checking out there, Fangio wouldn't completely admit it, but reading between the lines for his comments about Jakorian Bennett, it became pretty clear what the initial plans are.
I like him. He's got good speed. He's got a good attitude. He's got a good football brain. Shown some good cover ability. I'm sure he'll be out there at some point this season. It could be this one too.
All right, technically, yes, Fangio does leave it as an option there, but it sounds like, look, Adoree would have to be getting cooked. Absolutely torched before then I think they'd switch it in-game for Jakorian Bennett. You never know. That's just kind of my thought. But Jakorian does have at least a decent background there. Remember, Bennett does have a history of limiting George Pickens when he's been matched up on him, so it's at least halfway reassuring that the Eagles can go that route if they need him in-game. Also, when it comes to the punt returner situation, Britton Covey has continued to get all the first-team reps as returner, suggesting that while he's on the practice squad, either he's going to get elevated for the game or Philly's going to sign him soon to the active roster. Either way, I can't imagine DeJean's going to be in the role again this season. Anyway, as for the latest Dallas injury report, cornerback Trevon Diggs has a very good chance of playing despite some uninformed initial reports flying around that it was a foregone conclusion he'd be out for Thursday's opener. And in case you're wondering where I'm getting that, it's actually direct from Diggs in his latest presser where he gave himself a 75 to 80% chance of playing. This coming on top of the 26-year-old getting in consecutive full practices without any setbacks. Again, it's not really going to alter things too much because, again, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they're going to get theirs regardless of the defense, but it's at least something positive for Dallas that they weren't planning on. I don't think most of us were planning on with a knee injury for Diggs, so he should most likely be out there. Like I say, Dallas is healthier than expected heading into the opener. For instance, both Cowboys running backs Miles Sanders and Jaden Blue weren't even on the listed injury report, while starting tackle Tyler Guyton, who suffered a bone fracture in his knee in late July, was a full participant and should be starting for Dallas. Although, not going to lie, that might end up being a negative thing when all is said and done on Thursday, but I'll share more on that in my game preview video in the next couple days. Now, as for the official latest injury report, we got just about the best news possible. Full participation from Landon Dickerson and Andrew Mukuba, meaning perhaps we see the rookie out there after all. As well as the ground game being flat out unstoppable, plus Josh Uche and Jalen Carter are good to go as well. And then also keeping you up to date on the latest Philly news, it's kind of more so for a latter portion of this, but Matt Zenitz reported that the Eagles are going to work out edge rusher Isaiah Foskey next week. And don't worry, in case you're not as familiar with Foskey, he was a second-round pick out of Notre Dame in the 2023 draft by the Saints. It's just unfortunately that the 25-year-old wasn't able to muster much with just half a sack over the course of 27 games in 2 seasons, which eventually got him cut. However, at 6'5", 270 pounds, there's no question he's got the prototypical size to consider as an option in Vic Fangio's defense. Plus, no one's questioning the athleticism since he ranked near the very top in the entire class in 2023, thanks to an impressive 10-foot broad jump and a 4.5 40 at that size. Granted, it's not like he's going to take away reps from the starters even if he is signed. But like we all know, if anyone can maximize his potential, it'd be Fangio. So with that being said, I'll keep you posted on if and when the Eagles make a move next week following his tryout in Philly. Also, speaking of moves, I got a tip that the Eagles have signed or will be signing a pass rusher. I can't say the name. I've been asked not to say it until it actually happens. Who knows, by the time that I post this, it could be immediately right after. It could be the next couple days. I've been told that it's done. You guys know, the OGs that watch the channel, I don't normally break news. I don't do it like this. So for me to be confident enough to come on here and say it, just keep an eye out. There is something coming, especially when it comes to the pass rush. For now, though, do me a favor, drop a like on the video, make sure you're subscribed, go comment Dallas Sucks to get on the giveaway, and I'll catch you on the next one. This has been the Philly Special.